1, 2, 3.
I had a daydream last night
1,
where
2,
we were lying in bed.
4.
You were spooning me, but your hands were around my neck. You were choking me, and I'm just letting it happen willingly, as if it's a service you're providing me with. I had this image in my head of this craziness. Your hair and your hands around my neck. Just violence, but consensual violence. It was consensual.
It's hot. It feels like the best party you could be at for me.
Liberating, exhilarating. Diesel takes got really cruisy, I think, after you left. The sun went down, the porn started screening, people started like disappearing into the alley.
Yeah, I went to piss in the alley and I was like, oh sorry. like, oh excuse me.
So they were wrestling in the oil, so they're all lubed up, and then we said, okay, fighting's done, it's over, and they said, no, it's not.
No, it's
They
not.
kept fighting in the dirt.
There was so much initiative. Like, I am really
guess
proud of people
We'll
for...
let them keep going, and so there was this big dirt pile, and everyone's rolling around in the dirt and wrestling, and they're covered in oil, so they're just like looking like these like soil monsters. And the next thing you look over later, and they're same people, they're fucking. They were just fucking.
Covered in dirt.
And
It's
you know
beautiful.
what? You know what?
Something I think that I miss with queer culture being now so monopolized within bars most of the time is when I look at pictures of queer people gathering historically in the United States, like the 60s or the 70s, like people were doing a lot of stuff outside, and I feel like queer people are inside so much now that I really like the like festival feel of what we do.
You think it's hotter?
Yeah, it feels like a carnival, a festival, like a lesbian camp out. Like it's like this outdoor. There's this I don't know.
Even like music festivals.
Like a music festival
yeah.
almost. Like there's this I think exhilaration from being outside as well with what we've done here specifically.
Yeah.
We didn't have that in Kansas City, and it has a vastly different feel to be able to do it outside.
And having been like in the nightlife scene for so long, it feels so cool to have a space that's like dedicated to like just like being hot. It's not centered around like getting drunk or doing drugs. It's just like you and your hot friends and hot people wrestling in mud, and everyone's cheering for everyone.
Yeah, that's right. That is right.
You're meeting new friends. This last year, so many people showed up alone because they had just heard about it, and then they like were able to make connections and make friends. And that's like one of the things that I feel like when you go out to the club or something that like it's harder to do, but it just felt so like natural, and just like seeing it happen.
Like really skeptical. I was like, oh, wrestle your friends, that sounds really crazy. And then I'm like watching all these people wrestle each other, and it's just like really fun. Everyone's having such a good time. I was like, oh, I kind of want to wrestle my friends actually.
Went like a week or 2 weeks after my top surgery, so I was like wearing something like that I had always wanted to wear, and I felt like I could actually wear it out in public because I was going somewhere that was safe.
Yeah.
So I was just like, just pet me, baby. I put a good effort in. It was really fun. I feel very slippery, but I did it.
it's like, you know, we live in a world and a place where it's like we experience like our friends and us being queer bashed all the time. And this is like kind of, at least in my opinion, like our defense to that, you know? So it's like always a vulnerable setting to like express yourself authentically. There's a lot of people who love it, a lot of people who, you know, don't love that unapologetic energy, but I don't know, there's like kind of like a little bit of liberation in the ones who feel kind of unapologetic about it, so.
Getting to just have one concentrated space of like trans queer people, you know, pushing and shoving, but in love and consent. We have been getting little tastes of that in lots of ways for people that have been planning queer and trans events. Like the whole sport, like queer sports movement is that too. It's like getting to see yourself in a space that you had normally been excluded from or not seen in, you know, all of our trans bodies. We have like come to how we are now, and then getting to like exercise that and like do that with other trans people was awesome.
Friends fighting out the old beef, or like not friends fighting out beef, that's not violence. But like when somebody, you know, you have to fight for your life, or when you have to fight for your like physical or emotional well-being, or you feel cornered, you feel like you have to fight, like that's an entirely different thing. And a lot of people, you know, myself included, like, it's like that disembodied feeling, like being touched is like hard and weird in different ways. And like doing something like wrestling, it can be sexual, it doesn't have to be, but it's like really, really makes you think about what is the concept of violence.
It's important for us to make contact and put hands on each other. We've had several instances of like resolving real conflict through wrestling.
Yeah.
On the spectrum of like we matched on Tinder several times and never went on a date, to like we have some like conflict in the community that we're both in, to like you stole fucking money from me. We've seen people like all along this spectrum fight each other physically and work towards a resolution of their conflict, which has been really, really powerful and transformative.
But I think the one thing we do have to say is that like we've been through some shit and we're trying to fight it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing we do have to say is fuck off.
Yeah.
I agree with that. This question is difficult as like a non-native English speaker, but I think that I feel what, you know, what you're saying, whereas like that is the one thing we have in common. That much I can understand about the distinction, and like I know maybe not how to define it all the time, but I know when like something is violence and something is just a physical interaction, not absent of anger, not absent of like, you know, like pain or a reaction to something else, but violence seems to me like it comes from much higher up than we are a lot of the time, or it's people punching down trying to lift themselves to that higher position. People within our own communities as well. So yeah.
It's an extremely white liberal idea that the only form of violence that isn't acceptable is physical violence, but it's okay to cancel people, it's okay to ostracize people from community.
You know, like exile people.
Yeah, that I think is inherently way more violent than like punching someone in the face. So I think like, yeah, it goes directly against that idea that like physical violence is never okay, because I think that idea is wrong.
Sometimes it is.
Anger, especially again in like gender marginalized communities, is like especially seen as like so wrong, even though we have like some of the most reason to be pissed off. People, when they get scared of being angry, become scared of themselves and scared of like the intensities that they contain. And I think that's another way that people become disembodied from the self. It's not good for you as an individual, and it affects your ability to like hold others.
I wanted to wrestle really badly as a kid, and I tried out for the wrestling team in 6th grade. My mom was like, no, you'll get hurt type shit, and I was like, that's kind of the point, like to be able to like consensually agree to, you know, push and lose and win. And so I don't know, I think as I've gotten older, I've like tried to reclaim all the things that I was told that I can't do.
Yes.
And so doing this like felt really cool, especially, I don't know, I think like especially like sports growing up, they've always been so like gendered, and so you can't, if you fall outside of that binary, it's hard to feel like where can you exist as a competitive person who wants to like you know, be involved in sports and just like be involved in that community aspect, if you like don't belong. And so like creating a space where like, you know, the jocks and the cheerleaders can like come together and like be together in this way where we can like be competitive and it's celebrated, and we can be vulnerable in our losses and it's celebrated, and we can cheer for each other as we're winning. And I don't think of it as violence necessarily. I think when I think of like straight cis men wrestling, I feel like that's like a lot about violence and like domination. But like I think with queer mud wrestling, it feels like it's like with love and with respect, and like there still is that like there's the aggression there. But it's not like my intention is not ever to hurt my opponent. It is to like, you know, overcome them with like skill and like thoughtfulness, but I'm not trying to like hurt them.
When we were like researching wrestling and trying to like really get versed for the second event, it's actually you aren't supposed, like that is in the definition of like competitive wrestling, is you're not supposed to be violent. It's actually how to overcome them in the least violent way, you know. And so I don't think it feels like violence. I think we're getting to like resist and push and like and aggress, but like in the space that we've all like consented to beforehand. So it is in that, you know, container. It's literally in the ring, you know. In the pool, the blow up pool.
that does not always stay blown up. And I think like feeling like a lot of powerlessness in the years prior, getting the opportunity to feel strong and to feel like seen in your strength, like
and to act on it too. That felt good.
Yes, because so many times you want to act on the
mad.
aggression that you have and the anger that you have, and that there's nowhere for it to live. So for it to live in a space that like it's celebrated and encouraged and respected is awesome. The first year I wrestled Leo, and we wrestled for our lives, and it was awesome, and it felt great, and I lost, but I lost because I got a smackdown in the mud, and I had locks that were down to my ass, which was a decision. So I was just like full of mud everywhere, and like my eyes were full of mud, and it felt like at that moment I was like, I have lost, I cannot see, and that's okay. And it felt fun to like still like try to like power through. But then it was, and then I got to stand up, and I was covered in mud from the root of my hair to the underneath my toenail. And then we got in the little wash off pools together, and we rinsed each other's off. And so like I am a sore loser. I hate to lose. I hate not being good at stuff right away, and I hate losing, which is, I need to work on that. But in that scenario, it felt like, I don't know, I was able to laugh, and I didn't have my usual like, oh, I'm not good enough story that I tell myself. And so and everyone was cheering, and there was so much joy that it was like, it didn't feel like a loss. You don't have a coach yelling at you or like throwing a,
we've like taken your part out.
Like I lost, but I looked amazing doing it.
Yeah, because we focus on other aspects of the competition because we've queered the space. So it isn't truly in any of the sports spaces or the wrestling or anything, we have really taken out that part. And it is performative. I mean, we had trophies and shit. Like, of course we're gonna like,
we're gonna try our heart. We're gonna try our best. We're showing up.
We're gonna lean into the story of it in the bit and stuff. But
there's so many good ones.
I know my favorite match.
What was your favorite match?
My favorite match was, and I think maybe you named it this. Whoever sent me the file named it something like Barbie versus like granola.
Why do you go straight for the net and then get down immediately?
There was this person who did. I remember reading off their like character sheet, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here. quite frankly, but a lot is happening.
I will send you to the crushing hell to save 8 million trillion dying souls in the 1,000 houses burning.
Never in my life.
Now let's get naked, shall we? Okay.
And it had to do with like thousands of souls, and I think they were like an alien, but like maybe there's like an anti-assimilationist vibe. A lot happening, and they were like I don't know, like posing, doing like meditative posing, and but like their opponent was like this like tall girl, like head to toe in pink, and this like, so it's like this funny contrast of this girl who's like, I came here to just like do bimbo vibes, and this like pretty petite person being like, here's like my theory written character sheet where I am an ancient alien, and then they just got creamed immediately. Like, it was just so funny.
Come up with paragraphs of backstory.
Yeah.
I've been inhabited by the bodies of one yin. Puro Mercy, one of the only female Buddhists down to innumerable universes. And in this match, I, this mortal of pure karma, who's never done anything wrong in their life, they have to suffer, because how merciful I am, that I will send you to the crushing hell to save 8 million trillion dying souls in the 1,000 houses burning.
Never in my life.
Now let's get naked, shall we?
And like I respect it, and then I'm just
it's
like,
so cool, and you're like 2
Stop it,
sentences in,
seconds.
and then the match is over, and you didn't get to announce. So we gotta figure out that part. But people were real creative in this town, specifically with their character sheets. They have not gone as well in other cities as they have here. People have gotten really creative with their characters and their backstories. I like, this isn't character, but I like the matches where people with, this has happened in multiple cities, people with the same name will fight each other for whoever wins gets to be, like, here it was Mira versus Mira, and Mira was the winner, and the loser was forever to be known as the other Mira.
Wasn't there a couple that had the same name?
I don't remember.
I swear to God, I think it was like Casey and Casey or something. And they were wearing, similar looking, like, bathing suits, I swear to God.
This one wasn't a character, but when Spoofy and Pocket were wrestling and
oh my God, over $5.
Yeah, Spoofy shouted at the end, "You owe me $5," and that's why she lost, because she took the time to shout, "You owe
Leo
me
Queen."
$5 is gone. You already paid it. Actually, no.
Debt is paid.
It's been paid.
Debt is paid. This is how we settle our debts right here.
I will never pick it up again.
I don't care what people say, God shows me the way. Step into my power, watch me pray for an hour. Even in the shower, I'm baptized in water. Even in the kitchen, my gnomes are religion. Even in the club, God's love is my drug. Veins full of holy blood, keep me strong, give me love. Mind full of holy chants, purify and spotify. Body full of holy love, pulsing through, keep me new. Yeah, yeah, yeah.